Hello everybody and welcome back to Let's Play the Game Review. I am your host, Dustin Murphy. I want to give a huge shout out to all of you that continually tune into our videos. I know some of you understand that a lot of these Warframes have been out for quite a while, and we are just covering the basics with them. Today we will be talking Saryn's, especially since she has seen some minor changes since her release. The biggest one is the way her abilities synergize, so let's take a look at those. Her first ability is called Spores. Spores is her ability to put a corrosive dot on her targets. The dot can be spread by shooting those spores, which cause them to spread out among multiple targets. Once spread out, those spores can actually do increasingly more damage over time. So the goal here will be to keep them spread, to keep them active. Molt is her second ability. Molt is where she will shed her skin, allowing it to draw enemy fire while she makes a getaway to either heal up or get in more better position to deal damage. Her third ability is called Toxic Lash. Toxic Lash is her ability to deal additional damage through toxic damage on her melee weapon, but also automatically ignite her spores. We will be talking about Miasma last, especially since it is unique in the way it works these days. First, as you can see, I'm using Spores. Spores, again, is her ability to put dots on a single target and spread them, allowing them to do more damage. The more enemies you have infected also means the longer this ability is going to last, so prolonging it is going to be key. This doesn't matter if you have to cast it again and keep casting it. Do note, the more targets you have, the better off you're going to be. As you can see on the right side, this is indicated by a green orb that has a number in it. This indicates how many enemies you have infected, how much damage it is going to be doing extra, and just how long you've been able to keep it going. So the idea here is to maximize your output by continually infecting your targets with Spore. This means shoot as many spores as you can. If you have to, use her other abilities, such as her ability to put toxin damage on her weapon. Now, this does mean you want to take your time, get used to learning her, especially since she will take some time to get adjusted to. Her ability Molt is going to be one of her most unique abilities. If you can, you do want to get the augment mods for this. There is one, I believe it's called Regenerative Molt, is what I use, which allows the Molt not to just draw enemy fire, but also it will heal you over time. It will actually heal you. So a nice little thing to think about, especially once you get into the more advanced stages, if you aren't already there. As you can see here, Molt is just simply getting enemy aggro. The whole idea here, again, I'm just keeping spores up while fighting enemies. This is one of those abilities that you do want to take advantage of, especially comboing these two together. Mostly since the fact that Molt will keep enemy fire in a single place. Because Molt is so standard, we're not going to be doing a long scene on Molt itself. But we are going to be taking a little more time with Toxic Lash, Miasma, and Spores. I do apologize for mispronouncing Toxic Lash just a few minutes ago. But here's the bright side about all these abilities. As you can see here, it does say that Toxic Lash does cause her spores to immediately pop. This is a really nice combo, especially if you have a fast attacking weapon like mine here. I am using Reaper Prime, so my attack speed I do have increased. I do have my damage output increased. I've actually added extra toxin damage onto my blade through mods, and I'm continually making sure that I have Toxic Lash up, just so that if I have spores, I'm constantly spreading them. I'm keeping my enemies infected. I'm constantly moving through and staying highly mobile. And that's one of the really interesting things with Saryn's biggest changes is she's now a very, very mobile melee Warframe. She's not one that's going to sit in the back and just hose enemies down with a gun. Her primary concern should be melee at this point, and it's really useful, especially because of the way Toxic Lash works with spores. It actually will trigger spores, again, instantaneously. So the idea here is cast spore, hit your target, keep moving. Continually do this. Even if one of your targets nearby has spore and you can't hit them, just hit spore onto another target, make sure Toxic Lash is up, and get going to town. Another great thing you can do, I don't show here, is throw down Molt. Just keep Molt down at all times. Because this is a tutorial, I'm just showing off the way that these abilities work on their own or combo together. Next is her ultimate ability called Miasma. This is where things with her get very interesting. Miasma actually does a lot more than you expect. So let alone does it do viral damage when you ignite it, it actually does more damage and makes enemies more susceptible if they are infected with spores. Again, spores is going to be her biggest thing here. You have to keep spores up. I can't stress the importance of spores when using Miasma and Toxic Lash. These abilities all combo together. You're going to want to constantly chain these abilities. I cannot stress again the importance of making sure that you keep one and then the other up, especially since, again, more damage means Saryn's going to be a lot more effective, especially at higher levels. In defense missions where I had enemies at 70 and 80, she was just doing massive amounts of damage. So it is extremely important, again, that you Miasma with spores up. The best way to do this is you cast spores. If you have Toxic Lash up, run out, melee, spread your spores, then Miasma. The more damage that you can do through infected enemies, even better. It means that you're going to be doing a maximized output and she's not going to be holding back by any means. However, mastering this is going to be a little harder than what it sounds. Yes, I'm giving you all the steps to do this, but it also comes down to your effectiveness at making sure this combo happens. And that's the great thing about Saryn and Warframe in general. You have time to learn. You don't have to learn it in a single mission and feel like you're failing with a character, because honestly, you're not failing. She is an extremely hard character to master, and that is one thing I really like about Warframe is over time it pays off. Even I have my own faults. As you can see in the upcoming scenes here, I do manage to get down numerous times. It's not because I'm not good at Warframe. It's just simply she can be that hard to master. Even with my ability Regenerative Molt, which is a augment mod for Saryn, I don't always heal up fast enough. I take sometimes a little more damage than I expect. I even have mods such as Life Strike on my melee weapon, but it doesn't mean I'm going to heal over time. It just means that Saryn is a little more vulnerable than I'm used to, especially with this new playstyle that has come up in recent months. Now, if you can get this build down, she is quite the effective character, and she does change the way you're going to approach combat quite a bit compared to any other out there. Now, what can you do to better learn how to play her? I do highly suggest go into survival missions. Take your time, find some weapons you're extremely comfortable with, and make sure that they have a decent attack speed that you're capable of using. Make sure that she is modded to have a little more vitality and armor. Personally, I actually don't use a lot of vitality. I just use the vitality mod. I don't combo it with Vigor at all. I actually use just a maxed vitality. I went some armor, and then just from there I went completely about reducing my energy cost. With proficiency mods, I went into making sure I had none that would actually give negative benefits, take away from what she has. And I just went from there, ability power, energy pools, just those kind of mods for those of you wondering how I modded my Saryn in this video. Granted, she is a lot more vulnerable than I'm used to. I am having to relearn how to play her properly as far as my survivability goes, but since the making of this video, she's done a lot better. That is all the time we have, folks. If you have any general questions about Saryn, please leave them in the comments below. I will gladly get to them as soon as I can. Again, I'm your host, Dustin Murphy here at Blast Away the Game Review. I hope you all have a wonderful day.